Yes, we are live. For everyone watching this live. If you're not watching this live, we're starting or something. Welcome back to the Adam Sandler podcast. The podcast where we take a ridiculously deep dive into the sordid career of Adam Sandler. And we have arrived at one of the better movies, I suppose, in his filmography. Or is it? We're talking about funny people today, and with me, as always, is my friend and trusty co-host over there today, Christopher. Hello, everyone. Right, so, let's just get into it.
Yes.
I don't remember, had you seen Funny People before this?
Yes, I saw it when it came out because
Right.
I was a big fan of Judd Apatow. I sort of still am, not as big as back then when I was waiting for the next movie.
Yeah.
But I remember this came out and I was really excited, and then I saw Adam Sandler was in it. I said, fine.
Yeah.
So I saw it and I thought it was okay. I didn't love it. I thought it was one of Judd Apatow's worst movies at the time. I thought it was it was fine.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, I also saw it when it came out back in 2009, or whenever it came out on DVD. Because I was also a big fan of Judd Apatow. I mean, I think we were in the right age demographic for his movies. We were like 18, 19 around that time.
Yeah.
So, or 20. So we had kind of, our early teens were growing up with movies like The 40-Year-Old Virgin and Pineapple Express and Knocked Up, and they worked. They're pretty good movies for that age. And I remember back then thinking like, oh, it's kind of interesting that Adam Sandler's doing a serious movie, because I didn't know about Spanglish, or I knew about Punch Drunk Love, but I hadn't seen it, I think. Wait, 2009? No, I think I had though. Okay, it was another serious movie from Adam Sandler. And I thought it was interesting that he was like kind of poking fun at himself a little bit with the story. Or I guess Judd Apatow was. So I watched it, and back then thought it was like the most amazing movie ever. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought it was the best movie that Judd Apatow had made. Just because, it wasn't just like dick and fart jokes. It was a serious movie, you know. Yeah, it was a serious movie. So I was a little bit pretentious, which this movie kind of is, especially if you read some of the behind the scenes stuff. But should we just watch the trailer if people don't remember what the movie is? Let's see, Discord video. Boop. Hey, it lined up for once. Nice. 3, 2, 1, play.
I like having a girlfriend. I don't have one, but I like it better. One night stands are tough, and I'm not great at sex, so at the end of every time, I gotta look at them and go, hey, normally I do better than that. Girlfriends are so much better, you finish up and you're just like, well, That's how I do it.
Hey, George Simmons, you destroyed, man.
You the guy who was on after me?
It's very hard to be romantic with women when you live on a pull-out couch. Once those two little legs come down, you know it's on, right?
I enjoyed your set. You were good.
Maybe you can write me some jokes.
I've been going to this guy's movie since the moment I can remember. This is amazing, guys.
If he's like, do you have any friends that are like you but just way funnier and more talented? You can say yes.
I'm gonna tell you something, and I don't want you to get all weird on me.
It's like a Quentin Tarantino trailer.
It's too early to know who's winning the fight.
And it's not.
The disease.
Did anybody ever tell you?
Not really how the movie is.
Very funny man. I enjoy
It
your
feels a lot more wholesome
Which movie?
Oh yeah, definitely.
and a lot more. And Adam Sandler's character seems a lot more sympathetic in the trailer.
Oh yeah, in the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna start with the noises?
'Cause I don't think you can sell.
People that think I broke up.
It's kind of, well, I was gonna say it's kind of hard to sell Adam Sandler as an asshole, but that's what they do in every other movie. So I don't know.
He made a career out of it, so I guess.
I suppose.
That got away.
This is my husband.
Anyway, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
So that's what the movie is about. It's about funny people. But like Judd Apatow said when he talked about the movie, it's not funny like ha-ha funny people. It's like funny screwed up people. Because, you know, it's a serious movie. It's not a ha-ha funny movie. You know? It's deep, man. It's got layers. But rewatching it now, what was your reaction?
So first of all, I just gonna get into why I wasn't a big fan of it the first time I saw it.
Okay.
So the first time I saw it, I thought it was kind of pretentious. That didn't really bother me, but yeah. I thought it was kind of slow and not really getting to a point. And it felt like one of those movies where it doesn't have a point, and that's the point. And that I kind of dislike that thing, and I sort of still do.
All right.
And also, I thought it was kind of a vanity project for Adam Sandler. Because it is about his career.
It is, yeah.
I mean, it is. So yeah, I was a big fan. This time, I liked it a lot more. I thought it was kind of good.
Okay.
It was still a little too long. It was still dragging at some parts. But overall, I liked it a lot more than the first time.
Okay. Yeah, I think my appreciation for the movie had cooled down since the first time I saw it. I mean, I still think it's a good movie, but ultimately, like you said, it's way too long. It's like a Marvel epic. It's 2 hours and 21 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's a comedy, dude. It should be like 90, 100 maybe. Like, it doesn't have to be. And sure, if it's not actually like a comedy, it's a drama.
Yeah, but that's it's weird. The Judd Apatow style of making a comedy, because most of his comedies are like that.
Oh, sure.
Taking a serious subject, making jokes with funny characters, but there can be long stretches with no jokes at all, and you forget that it is a comedy.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I think a lot of comedies nowadays take after that style. A lot of new comedies.
Yeah, that's something we should mention. Like, Judd Apatow, in my opinion at least, like, created a new style of making comedies.
Yeah.
A much looser style where you get a lot of funny people together in a room and they just say funny things and you film it.
Yeah. And I think this movie sort of is it's interesting because he put Adam Sandler in it, and he's more or less the like the guy for the old style of comedy.
Yeah.
And then he put him in a movie which is this side. It's kind of interesting.
It's interesting, but ultimately I think I'm more I think of it the way you thought of it the first time you watched it. Like, you know, and also because I remember when I watched it the first time, I thought it was like, yeah, this is a turning point for Adam Sandler. Because even back then I was getting kind of sick of all the movies he was making. And I wanted him to go back to the funny stuff from the 90s. And I thought this was like him like distancing himself from all these cash grab terrible movies like Zohan and whatever movies we've been watching. I don't even remember. Bedtime Stories. Because that's what he does in the movie. He wants to, you know, rediscover what it means to be funny again, and, you know, he gets a second chance at life. Problem is, we know what happened with his career after this. He just kept on making terrible movies. I mean, it's not I don't know if it's the first movie, but very quickly after some Funny People, he made one of the worst movies of all time, Jack and Jill. And it's just like he just went back to the same old.
He made one movie between those.
Which one?
Grown Ups.
Oh right! Oh god!
Made Funny People, then Grown Ups, and then Jack and Jill.
Oh my god! Yeah, and that's just sours the whole experience.
Yeah.
In watching this, especially rewatching this, it's like, what happened, dude? You had it, man.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This is a movie which should have been, not saying end of his career, but it should have been career changing.
Yeah, a turning point. Like,
yeah, a turning point in some way.
I'm gonna make better choices, basically.
Well, or he maybe stopped making movies and started making stand-up again, or I don't know.
Yeah,
something like that.
But he didn't at all.
Because of the movie is, as we said, so closely based on his own career, his actual career.
Yeah.
And he sort of plays himself in a way.
Oh yeah,
It
there's a bunch of
feels like-
behind the scenes stuff where everyone says the wrong name. Instead of George, they say Adam. Even he does.
Yeah.
So.
And it feels like he should have learned something from that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big problem with this movie. He didn't learn anything.
But all of those things are souring the experience, but it is not in the movie. That's
No, they're
things
not in
around the movie. It's
Yeah. Well.
so it is a disservice to put those judgments on.
Oh
the
sure.
movie.
Yeah. Definitely. That's just the impact the movie has had as time has gone on. Now it's 11 years old at this point, and it's like, damn it. It could have been something. But a more like direct problem I have with the movie is I like the premise of him getting this terminal illness and but then getting a second lease on life and trying out different things. But then the movie like kind of pauses that whole thing to just focus on him and his ex-girlfriend. They were never married. Leslie Mann. And how their relationship starts blossoming again. And that's fine. The problem is that it becomes like the second act of the movie is just one long chunk over 2 days where they just hang out. And nothing happens. I mean, stuff happens. Of course, stuff happens. But the characters
Nothing that
doesn't
matters.
progress. Yeah, nothing matters. And when those 2 days over there in San Francisco or whatever they are, when that's over, they're back to where they were before. Even worse. He's back to where he was in the beginning of the movie. And it's just, so what was the point of all this? It didn't lead anywhere. And then there's like one 5-minute scene in the very end where he's like, okay, yeah, maybe I was thinking too selfishly. Let's hang out, Seth Rogen. And then the movie's over.
Yeah.
So it becomes like a romantic comedy halfway through, and it just forgets about all the other like serious stuff.
Yeah.
And that really didn't work for me this time.
I would say the biggest problem the movie has, and that's because of its long runtime.
Yeah.
It feels unfocused. It doesn't feel like it doesn't know what story to tell, and it's like, well, we have an hour left. Let's do this now. I don't know, and it feels, unfocused and not that tight.
Yeah, and it becomes
Meandering.
Like, yes, definitely meandering. It becomes about what you said. Like, what is it actually about? I thought it was about him trying to get a hold of his career again, or doing what he wants to do. But then it becomes this romantic comedy, and then there's a bunch of stuff where it's just long montages of people doing stand-up sets. What is it actually about? I don't know. What characters is it actually about? Is it about George? Is it about Ira? Is it about both of them? I don't know. I'm not actually sure.
I mean, the thing that made me like it more this time than the first time, I think that's because it's an interesting concept, and they mostly explore that concept of a person who is really famous doing stupid stuff that he doesn't like.
Yeah.
Getting a terminal illness, and then in his last days tries to find what's actually make him happy.
Yeah, realizing he's wasted his time.
Yeah, and that plus this Seth Rogen's character, this up-and-comer, not even up-and-comer, just a wannabe stand-up, sort of.
Yeah.
At the start of the movie, at least. Getting more or less taught by this senior guy, and their friendship blossoming. I think that's interesting. I think they do that good. I like the chemistry that the characters have. I like the dialogue. I like the acting. I like those things.
Okay.
But as you said, the part in the house, I except if you take away that part of the movie, I think it's an amazing movie.
Yeah, like if that was like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
because you could just compress all that and get all the same like emotional stuff and all the story points in there easily in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's the first thing I said after I watched when the credits rolled, where you could have cut out this dialogue, this thing, this thing, and you wouldn't have lost anything. I mean, you could have just, when they get there, You could have had it on the same day, everything on the same day. For first of all,
Yeah, exactly.
And you could have, like, there's so many scenes that they're playing with the children, and when they tell Seth Rogen's character, "Can you watch the children?" They tell him to watch the children like 4 times in 2 days.
Yeah.
They could have done that once and get all those things over with.
Yeah, I mean, there is stuff happening which, we slowly see over this. I don't know how long this sequence is. It's like half an hour, 40 minutes.
Something like that.
We see like George is very enamored with the thought of being with. What is her name in the movie? Leslie Mann, is the actress.
Yeah. I don't even remember.
Whatever, Leslie Mann.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really thought, like, if he's gonna.
Laura.
Right, Laura.
Mm.
If he's gonna, like, become a part of this family now, if Eric Bana is out of the picture, he's gonna have to, he's gonna have to take care of the kids and all that, and he's not really ready for all that. And there's some stuff in there which might need some more breathing time than 10 minutes. But that's also not really necessary for the story. You could have just told it in a more succinct way, definitely.
I think you should have just removed that whole thing.
Yeah.
And just all these things about him taking care of the children and the children stuff and all that. Just make it that it is that he wants her to make a step, and then she doesn't want to, and then he realizes he was overstepping his bound and wasn't thinking clearly.
Yeah. Yeah,
you could have done that in 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
That could have also been nice if he kind of acted like an adult in the end, which he definitely doesn't.
No.
And that could have almost been like the climax of the movie, like him realizing he's being a big baby basically in the end, and then resolving their issues in the ride home, and the movie ending there on kind of a melancholic note, but at least they're friends. That could have been interesting, because now they tack on this extra scene in the end, which doesn't feel necessary.
I mean, they could also just have ended the movie with it. Would have ended on a higher note and maybe not be reflective of the morals that the movie wanted to say. But they could have just ended it with him being diagnosed as cured.
Yeah.
Him just sitting in a doctor's office, and then.
Yeah, because it is definitely, like, usually movies like this end with them being okay. And them like, okay, now I have this new look on life, and I'm going to continue doing that, and it's over. But I guess, thinking of it, maybe they wanted something a little more realistic. Like, people recovering from cancer don't become these saints. They go back to their old ways, and maybe that's part of what they wanted to portray. I don't know.
Yeah. Or they could have ended it with at the party when he was talking about all the people and realizing with the when he talked with Eminem.
Yeah.
Like, you could have ended it at that party when, like, he's talking with everyone and there's happy he's alive, but he realizes during that party that I don't know what to do now. Yeah. And that could have been an interesting ending of the movie. Yeah, that could have been interesting. Yeah. So there's a lot of places where this movie should have ended, but they just didn't. And dragged out for too long, and they tacked on a romantic subplot story at the end that we didn't need. We definitely didn't. And it's dragging down the movie. Yeah, that's a big problem with it. Yeah, but overall, I still like the movie. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm being overly negative, but I still like the movie. It's one of the better ones we've watched on this list. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's consistent laughs. Adam Sandler isn't being as obnoxious. He's still, he plays himself, so he's definitely an asshole, especially in the beginning of the movie. But there's more depth to his character. He's not as much of an Adam Sandler typical character. There's definitely some influences in there, but he's more of a well-rounded character, and it's interesting to see him. That's part of the interesting development with his character, that he doesn't grow. It's not like Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore that he grows and then he wins in the end. He doesn't really grow, but we see some growth towards the end at least. So that's interesting. And I was gonna say, like, ending it at the party or ending it when he becomes cured, that would have been like the good cinematic ending for the movie. But I think they, like,
they wanted to stay away from like tropes like that. So I guess that's why it continued for another 40 minutes, which is admirable, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
So.
I also gotta say this is one of the most interesting movies regarding like trivia and behind the scenes stuff and things like that.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a lot of interesting stuff around. Like for example, that most stand-up sets are written by the actor doing it.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch. I have the movie on DVD, so I watched this like an hour and 18-minute documentary about the behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, you see like it's a bunch of actors that I thought were stand-up comedians, like Seth Rogen, who I guess he started as a stand-up comedian when he was a teenager, but in the movie he hasn't done it for like 10 years. I was like, oh really? So it's kind of fun to see that. Aubrey Plaza was I thought she was a stand-up comedian, but then I was like, oh, she isn't? All right. But she in the behind-the-scenes material that you see a bunch of jokes that aren't in the movie. She's surprisingly funny for being so deadpan. I laughed a lot at her stand-up material. That's also something we should mention. This movie does it have any of the regulars?
I think there are a few.
The only one I can think of,
but they are like they are really like in the back. Okay, so for example, the opening prank calls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ben Stiller is in that room.
But he's not really an Adam Sandler.
No.
Or like
no.
A regular.
Well,
they haven't been in. Have they been in any movies together?
No.
No, Ben Stiller isn't.
No. He just felt like a regular. I just thought he was a regular.
Yeah, no, he isn't.
No, he's not a regular.
Yeah, no, it's Ben Stiller and Judd Apatow is filming, and then Jeanine Garofalo is there. None of them are the regulars. I know that there's also in the behind the scenes stuff that Alan Covert was involved behind the scenes, helping and write some of the joke material for George, the George character. But I don't even think he's credited in the credits. He was just like helping out.
Yeah. I don't think there are any regulars.
No, the closest is Norm Macdonald, who was in Billy Madison, and then Adam Sandler's in his movie, what is it called, Dirty Work.
Yeah,
but that's it. Otherwise, there's a bunch of other comedians though, which really helped. Oh, yeah. There's
a lot.
Especially all the Judd Apatow regulars, like Seth Rogen, and you have what's his name, Jason Schwartzman.
Hill.
Jonah Hill. Yeah. They all helped to make the movie a lot more fun than it would have been if it would have been Adam Sandler regulars.
There was so many famous people in this movie.
Oh yeah.
In like every scene.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Judd Apatow saw this as his magnum opus.
Yeah.
So he really wanted to make it long and have all the famous people in it and make it this big sweeping thing.
It's kind of it helps sell the movie that he is a famous guy and he's like he knows all these people.
Oh sure.
It really sells that in the movie, so I like that, and it feels like this is how Adam Sandler how it lives actually.
Yeah, I mean he probably does. It's probably like except for the disease, I guess. It's probably pretty close to his life, other than he's married in real life.
Yeah, he is married. Doesn't he have children? Yeah, he's 2 children.
Yeah, 2 or 3 children. Yeah. So that's the only difference.
the small difference.
Yeah, but I think him as a person isn't very different.
No. That was one thing I was thinking about, which kind of it probably makes sense, sort of his career.
Yeah.
When you watch it through this lens of this movie, that he's because I've heard a lot of people say that often, that Adam Sandler is a really funny guy, like in private, that he's a funny person.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, that he's really funny, like when you're shooting the shit and talking.
Mm-hmm. And
then and because he's such a funny guy, he gets a lot of friends with a lot of money, and they say, hey, you should make a movie out of his. And I was like, yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah.
And that doesn't work on screen at all, but he's still a funny guy who everybody knows, and I think that's probably how his career got started and still goes on.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's just a funny guy people like to hang around.
Yeah, and that kind of gets back to the first movie we did, Going Overboard, or just
Yeah.
is it Overboard? No, Going Overboard.
Yeah.
All he wants to be is a stand-up comedian, but instead he's in this movie. He's trying to promote his stand-up comedy, but instead he got a role on SNL, and then he got a bunch of film roles. But he just wants to make stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And definitely we see some of the old material in this movie, and it's just as unfunny as when we watched it back in the beginning of the podcast. His old stuff, there's not a lot of good stuff there. I mean, there's some.
No.
But the material he has in the movie, even though he didn't write it himself for the most part, it's a lot more funny.
Didn't he?
I mean, he was involved, but there was, like, Judd Apatow, like I said, Alan Covert was involved. What's his name? Patton Oswalt was involved in coming up with jokes for his stand-up bits in the movie.
Right.
But he was always involved, of course. But it's not solely his material, unfortunately.
Yeah, because his bits in the movie is really good.
Yeah,
and I
he's
think
funny.
most of them really good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, there's not much.
Yeah.
There's not much more to say. Yeah, I know. I just wish it was shorter. I mean, I don't want to rag too much on this movie because it is a good movie.
Yeah. People should see it. People really should.
Yeah, definitely, and especially if you are an Adam Sandler fan, it would be interesting maybe to see another side of Adam Sandler if you haven't watched.
Would you recommend this to someone who doesn't like Adam Sandler?
Yeah, I would, because it's not. This is the least Adam Sandler-y movie on the list. I mean, technically, he is the biggest name on the poster, but it is as much about the other characters as it is about him. He's just the main anchor point for all the other characters.
Yeah.
So this is like comparing this to, I don't know, Little Nicky or Waterboy. This is not an Adam Sandler movie like we usually talk about it. This is a comedy with Adam Sandler in it, so that helps definitely. And he's good in it, so it's. I mean, he feels a little disinterested in some scenes, but that just might be his character. I'm not sure.
I think so, because he was. I thought it was really good. I didn't react at all to that. Every time he felt disinterested or something like that, I thought it was obviously the character.
Okay, yeah, that might be
personally.
Yeah, but I still think like he does a better job in I'm gonna mention Spanglish again because Spanglish is fucking good. But this is still, I mean, this is like a proper acting job from him. It's not like one of the comedies he just shits out. It's a proper movie, and he's properly good in it, like he is when he works with the right people. We say this every time we watch a good movie with him. So yeah, I would definitely. Well, maybe then coming back to the length. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. I mean, today people are kind of used to it because of all the Star Wars and comic book movies, and every movie basically is over 2 hours nowadays. But back then, I remember it was like, whoa, this is like a Lord of the Rings movie almost. That's how I felt about the length of it. So that was interesting. The movie was like, I think it was like close to 3 hours in the first cut.
Really?
Yeah, because they had like, I think they had, I don't remember the exact number, but they had a lot of test screenings and kept going back. They had like, I think they had like 18 or 20 weeks of editing on this movie just to get it down to 2 hours and 20 minutes. So yeah, it could have been worse.
Do you know if there are any other cuts of the movie?
I don't think there are any. I don't know. I don't think there are any official cuts, especially since this is. It was all shot on film, so they actually mention that in the movie, like, they do something called like a burn, where you take and you actually cut the negatives and get rid of all the extra, instead of just cutting a digital version of it. So the last time they cut it into this 2 hour and 21 minute movie is when they cut the negatives. So the negatives might be out there, but I don't think there's a different cut of it still existing.
No,
unfortunately. It would be fun, or it would be interesting to see like the 3-hour cut of this.
Yeah,
But
that's what I was thinking. That
Yeah.
could it be that the last part feels so tacked on because there are missing scenes that make it more?
I don't know, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I think though a lot of that 40 minutes that was cut is just a bunch of ad-libbing from all the comedians. Because there's always on these DVDs, I have a few other Judd Apatow DVDs. There's always like very long gag reels and really long line-oramas where they just do the same scene over and over again but with different jokes. So I think a lot of it was just that, which they kind of had to cut out. But from the way they talked about it behind the scenes when they were editing, there were like stuff they had to cut out for time and pacing. So there are story bits missing. Not missing, but that they cut out, definitely. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe there is one out there somewhere, but it's not available, I think. Unless you get a hold of Judd Apatow. I'll call him.
Yeah, he has it in his vault.
Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me. But yeah. Should we move on? Well, we kind of already did the spreadsheet. No one's in it.
Yeah. Wait, are we like wrapping it up
Yeah.
at the 35-minute mark?
I know, but I mean, it's not a
The
movie.
longest movie on the list gets the lead, the shortest episode.
Yeah, I was thinking of that because this movie it's not it's not a terrible movie, so we can just keep on mentioning all the terrible parts and like, oh, and this and this and this and going for hours about it. And it's also not so great that you can just go on and praise it for like an hour. This is just it's a pretty good movie. So I don't know. Is there
Yeah,
more, is
I
there,
guess I don't really have anything else to say, which is kind of weird, but
yeah.
it's a fine movie.
Oh no! One thing I want to ask you about. I don't know if you know any more of this, but I read, and probably you read too, that it is loosely based on The Great Gatsby.
Oh yeah, I saw mention of that.
Yeah. Problem is, I've neither read the book or seen any of the movies, so I only know the plot of The Great Gatsby. So I don't yeah, I guess, but I can't really like. Do you have any knowledge of The Great Gatsby?
I've read the book and I watched the movie several times, so
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I have a
Okay.
grasp on it.
Well, do you see any resemblance between the movies or between the
It's
whatever?
extremely superficial, and it's
Okay.
kind of, it's, yeah, I see it, but I wouldn't see it if they didn't
No one
mention
mentioned
it.
it. Yeah, it's
Yeah, because loosely, in really broad terms, Great Gatsby is about a guy who is very rich, who had a fling with a girl like a decade ago, and now when he was poor, and now he's rich, and now he decides to get this girl back, but he doesn't know how, so he moves into a house relatively close to this girl who is now married with another man, close to their house, and then he has all these parties in the hopes that this girl is going to come to his party so he can hit on her.
Oh, okay.
That's in very broad terms. That's the story. So yeah, there are some similarities, but also that a guy who was poor was together with a girl. They're not together. She's married and he's now rich. That's about it.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of stories are like that.
Yeah,
so.
and I never heard like Judd Apatow or Adam Sandler mention Great Gatsby. It was just people on the internet saying it's kind of like Great Gatsby. Actually, it's kind of like when people said that The Dark Knight Rises is like Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. It's like, yeah, it's about two cities. One is, or technically one city and one place, and one is poor, one is rich, but that's about it. So yeah, it's a bit what's it called overanalyzing, I suppose.
Extremely, because if that was the point, if they actually was going for that, they would have at least named a character after a character in The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
In any way, but they did not. So it can't be that, like.
No. Like I said, I think it's just film students wanting it to be better than it is.
Also, how have you not seen Great Gatsby?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how. Are there several? Or I know about the DiCaprio version, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna watch this. What is
Baz
this?
Luhrmann.
Right, it's Baz Luhrmann. Sorry, I don't like Baz Luhrmann.
Don't you like all the things on the screen at the same time?
No, I don't. I don't like visual a movie version of vomit. No, I don't.
What? But there are so many colors
Yes.
all the time.
It's so dense. Yes. No. I've seen Romeo plus Juliet. Yeah.
That's kind of horrible though.
There's a lot of stuff going on in that. I've seen parts of Moulin Rouge. A lot of stuff going on in that as well.
I would say Great Gatsby is the least Baz Luhrmann movie of all of them.
Maybe
I'd say it's only at the mostly only at the parties that the Baz Luhrmann gets in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch it if you don't have anything else to watch. I mean, you don't have so many movies behind you.
No. This is just. It's a green screen actually. I don't have any movies. No. I mean, it's a quarantine. I had to sell them all for toilet paper. No, but I would like to read the book though. I've heard a lot of good stuff about the book. I mean, it's a classic. So I from time to time I try to read some classics, even though I'm not good at it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's an okay read.
It's yeah. Oh, right. That's interesting. Talking about the edit, I just thought of some trivia that I remember, and it has a connection to Punch Drunk Love. Paul Thomas Anderson actually did a different cut of the movie, a different edit of the movie. I don't know if that exists, but that would be interesting to watch.
Of Punch Drunk Love or
no, of Funny People.
Funny People.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Like, if we
broke into the editing rooms and I'm gonna make a cut.
Look out! No, I think it was just Judd Apatow pulling all his like famous people strings he could to get everyone involved in it. I mean, he has the composer John Bryan, who works a lot on other Judd Apatow movies. He has him in like one scene of the movie. He has a bunch of other musicians he likes that appear in one scene of the movie. I think it's kind of that, like, he wanted a great filmmaker to like look at his movie. I'm getting that. That's the feeling I get from what I saw of the behind the scenes stuff. So Paul Thomas Anderson did an edit of the movie. So that, speaking of different edits of the movie, that would be interesting to see how he cut it. I wonder if that exists. That's
again in the vault.
Yeah, probably.
So I guess scoring.
Yeah, let's score it. And I actually have it prepared this time. Let's see if it works. Let me just bring it up here first. So it's a brand new scoreboard or leaderboard with funny people at the top. Let's see here. Oh, I should move us a little bit so we don't get there. And boop. Yay! Oh, we have in the chat someone mentioned more trivia, and also I want a deep analysis of the peanut butter scene. I was like, what peanut butter scene? But yeah, there's a
stupidest scene in the movie.
Yeah, they set it up as something really weird, and then it's a dog licking peanut butter off
but it's still fucking weird.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It's just such a weird thing to put in the movie. Like, want to play? So for people who haven't seen the movie, they come to this family's house. And they're like, "Want to play the peanut butter game?" What? And then cut to they lay on the floor with peanut butter on their face, and their dog licks it off.
Yeah.
What? Huh?
Yeah, it's oddly. I mean, I shouldn't say that because there's small children involved in the scene, but it's oddly kinky, and it just felt weird.
Yeah, and also they mentioned earlier in the movie licking peanut butters off of balls.
Oh right. Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's true.
It's just a weird.
That is a weird scene.
Doesn't make sense.
No, I'm guessing that's like a what's it called? Like an in joke. Like that's something that Judd Apatow does because it's his kids and his wife in the scene.
Yeah, maybe.
That's also now stuff is starting to pop up. I'm going to remove the leaderboard.
No more leaderboard.
That's something I want to discuss because it happens in a lot of Judd Apatow's movies. I'm sure it's nothing, but it's just something I noticed. His wife is in a lot of his movies. She's in this. She's in 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up,
Less
This
than
Is
40.
Us. Oh right,
Less
Less
Than
Than 40. Sorry, that was This Is Us. That's a TV show.
Yeah.
And especially in this, it's a very tame, but it's still Adam Sandler, his lifelong friend, has a sex scene with his wife. And I was like, oh, I mean, they're actors, they're professionals, but then behind the scenes, he specifically mentions that. But today we filmed the sex scene. I was like, all right, okay. It's like I was oddly okay with it. I was like, you don't have to like clear your mind for the camera. If you like cuckold porn, that's okay, man. It's okay. It was just something I noticed when I watched it behind the scenes. I was like, you don't have to mention that. It's weird enough as it is because we know all the backstory of all the characters or of all the people involved in the movie. I don't know.
I gotta say, I think this is more on you.
Yeah,
I don't really. I would not have thought that was weird until you put it in this way.
Yeah, I mean, it was
now
just something
I think
noticed.
it's weird.
Yeah, but I didn't really think it was that way. I just noticed it. But then when he mentions it, it was like, okay. So clearly he thinks about it. But another thing.
Well, he made the movie.
Oh, I know.
Of course,
he
thinks about the scenes in the movie.
I know. But I mean, like he put it in the movie, and then I was like, I'm gonna put my wife in this role. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And it's just like, no, I'm okay with it. That's the feeling. Like he stopped himself and then, no, I am okay with it. I am okay with it. That's the feeling I got from when he talked about it behind the scenes. Another thing though, that also pops up a lot in movies where his wife plays a role, and I don't know if that's like art imitating life, but her relationships in his movies are often like strained, and they're like marriages on the verge of breaking up, and they're always like in constant like disarray.
You think Judd Apatow is trying to tell you something?
I don't know. I don't know if there's something there because both in this movie and in what was it? This Is 40, and Knocked Up, which is kind of a This Is 40 is a sequel, to Knocked Up. It's about a marriage like on the verge of ending.
Well, I
don't know.
Just speculating, but
yeah, it's all speculation.
I mean, yeah, but isn't it better to see your wife play that she's in a bad relationship with another man than being in a good relationship with another man?
Oh, sure. But I mean, then you have the added fact that his actual kids plays her children in the movie, so it's basically they're basically playing themselves. So it's like, is your marriage okay, Judd? I don't know. I'm probably reading too much into it. It's just something I noticed.
You're definitely reading too much into it.
While watching this, I'm remembering like, oh yeah, they're always like divorcing in these movies. What is going on behind the scenes? All right. Yes, I'm overanalyzing. I'm putting The Great Gatsby into funny people. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
basically.
definitely.
Anyway, I just thought of it now that we're talking about trivia. Let's go back to the leaderboard. Christopher, out of 100, what would you rate it?
I'm gonna give this 72.
A 72? That's a lot. 72 out of 100. I'll give it. I'll probably give it something similar. I don't know why I said yours. That's a lot, because I was thinking about this yesterday when I watched it, and it's like, yeah, it's like a 69 or 70. So it's about the same.
I mean, if they fixed the ending and taken out that part or fixed up that part of the movie, it would have been a lot closer to 90, I'd say.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, of the... It's kind of weird to say that, but of the good movies we've watched in this podcast, where would you rate this?
It's I think it's above Reign Over Me, but it is below Spanglish, definitely.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And yeah, Project Love is.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I would agree. I would agree with that.
I'd say, but it's this and Reign Over Me is really head to head.
They're very close. Yeah.
Yeah. So which one of those is the best one? I think it's depending on the day I'm having.
Yeah, probably. Because yeah, one is pretty depressing, and the other one you can laugh a lot at because it's 2.5 hours of comedians saying funny things. Yeah. So yeah, they're very different.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, but that's it. Yeah, no spreadsheet for this one. I mean, I have it on. We can look at it, but I mean, 'cause I put it on there, but there's nothing to fill out. It's empty. So, but there it is. There we go. Now you've seen it.
Thanks for that. Really missing it.
Oh yeah. So, let's talk about what we're gonna do in the next episode.
Yes. So the recap, or well, the status of Adam Sandler at the moment.
Oh.
In 2008, he made 2 movies: Bedtime Stories and You Don't Mess with the Sohan.
Yeah.
1 Disney movie and 1 movie.
One movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in 2009, he only made 1 movie, and that was this one, Funny People.
Yeah. Which also adds to this feeling that he was taking a new step in his career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a while since he made a movie, and it's gonna be a while since he makes his next movie. So
yeah,
so you had a few months of bliss when you're like, oh, Adam Sandler's gonna be, gonna be a good one.
Yeah, and it's also, we should mention, because this is not a Happy Madison production, so there's basically there is no product placement in the movie. No, it's a real movie. Yeah.
But then
2010. Oh God, yes.
Then he comes up with the movie that everyone who likes movies hate and everyone who doesn't like movies love.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah.
Grown Ups.
It's Grown Ups. Yes,
yeah.
I have seen the first 10 minutes of it before, because it like popped up in my recommends a few years ago on YouTube, like full movie, and I was like, what, full movie? So I watched it. It was some sort of screener version. So I mean, I've heard it was terrible, but I'll watch it because it's a full movie. I watched 10 minutes and I literally shut the computer off and left. So it's
left.
Yes, I left the building. So I'm not gonna say it was terrible, but it was bad enough for me to leave the house.
Yeah, so I saw this movie around
You've
Grown
seen
Ups.
it?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen all of it.
My God. Okay.
Yeah, so I saw it around 2012, 2013, because I heard from a lot of people that it was actually a kind of funny movie.
Okay.
And I still know people to this day who say it's a funny movie and have rewatched the movie and say it's a funny movie still.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of people loving these movies. There's a reason they did the second one.
Yeah, I mean, it was successful, like most of his movies are.
Yeah.
And I know even Red Letter Media, like, they do some Adam Sandler movies sometimes, and they always, rip him apart, of course. But this one, they didn't even do a proper review of it. They just made a skit where they say other people's opinions about it while they slowly go insane. So
yeah,
there's something special about this one, and I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think from what I've remembered, 'cause, yeah, it was a while, around 2012, 2013.
Yeah,
I saw it. From what I gather, why I think people like it,
yeah,
is because it's one of those movies where parents feel, yes, that's how it is to have children.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's the thing, and I also think that some people think, my parents were like that. And I think
Okay.
I think it's one of those family movies.
Well, you know what? You don't have to make a movie about that. You can just watch your own home video footage of that.
Yeah, but I mean, think the feeling you get from National Lampoon.
Yeah. Okay.
That feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's bad also.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay. I know what you mean. It's like, okay, so it's like a good movie, but it's bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was thinking that familiarity feeling
Oh,
of a
sure, yeah,
family and the wanting to have some. Yeah, as we did the Christmas episode with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that we were talking about this. It's the feeling you know about when you want it to be a perfect Christmas, and it's gonna be, and then it's not, and it's you don't have, and it's not what you want it to be. I think this is going on the same emotions, grown-ups.
All right. Well, who knows? Maybe I'll get that familiar feeling and actually like it.
Yeah, I doubt it. We'll see. So that's the next week, and then after that, the dreaded, the most dreaded, I think, for me at least, Jack and Jill.
Yeah, that's one I've actually tried to watch it before, and I didn't finish it. Not because it was like, oh my god, it's so terrible. I just like zoned out. I was watching it because I made it like a project to see how many times I actually laugh, because I have a habit of laughing at things that I actually don't think is funny because it's just like reaction.
Slime!
Yeah, exactly, like slime. It's like, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to count how many times I laugh in this terrible movie. But after, I don't know, after like 25 minutes, it was just like, I just like forgot the movie was on. I was like, what? Oh, right. And I turned it off and did something else. So I don't remember it. I don't remember anything about it. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so, well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, we're go. Now it's the big dip.
Yeah. Now it's
gonna be
the 2010s.
Yeah, it's gonna be around 6 movies before we get something that's anything else than Adam Sandler-ish movies.
Yeah. Yep. It's gonna be a tough one. But that's why we do this podcast, I suppose. To suffer. Basically.
Suffer. But we are past the midway point at least.
Yeah, that's true. We're getting closer to the end. Unless I'm not going to say too much, but I have discussed continuing the podcast after Uncut Gems. Nothing is set in stone yet.
Yeah.
I feel like Christopher is kind of reluctant to it.
But
there's definitely material to go on for quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah, after Uncut Gems, I need to see how my mental health is.
Yeah, that's true.
If it's possible.
Yeah, so we're definitely not promising anything, but it is something at least I have mentioned. I'm not gonna say we've discussed it, but I've mentioned it.
Yeah.
But I think that's gonna have to be it for this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you to we had a few people watching it live. Thank you for watching it live. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can watch this live every Tuesday on Twitch. There's a link down in there somewhere. And if you've seen the movie, you can discuss it with us in the chat. But if you're just watching it on YouTube, that's fine as well. So be sure to give it a like and hit the subscribe button and all that stuff. And we'll see you next week. But until then, have a good one. Bye bye.
Bye everyone.